Did the SJWs at Marvel ruin Deadpool 2? And what did I think of the film? That and more in my second ever movie review. And I guess once in a while you have to make a video that has a small chance of getting ads on it. But also, I asked you all in the comment section yesterday if you thought I should review Deadpool 2. And I don't know if I want to do movie reviews that often, but when it's a movie franchise that I really enjoy, and if you all are interested in hearing my opinion, let me know by liking the video or telling me in the comment section down below. The first Deadpool was, in many ways, groundbreaking with its R rating and one of the highest grossing, if not the highest grossing R-rated film ever, and I really enjoyed it. It was very close to what I would say is a perfect movie. If I had to give the first Deadpool a rating on a scale of 0 to Tombstone, it would probably have been an 8.75 or a 9. It was just so refreshing to see something from Marvel that had zero fucks to give in terms of PC and just a good old having fun. Perfect casting, in my opinion, in that movie. Perfect. Now, a lot of people have been saying that they actually like Deadpool 2 even more than the original Deadpool. And I'll get to my opinion on that in a minute. But during the movie, I took some notes, some things I want to talk about, some small gripes. I think overall the film was very good. But I was interested to see what the social justice minds at Marvel would do to this film. And they definitely played a part. Now, I have always said that when you look at the casting in Marvel movies, for the most part, you know that whoever is in charge of the movies understands their customers, right? They're not putting these unattractive blue hairs in their films. They're putting attractive people. I mean, just look at Domino. Look at Domino. This woman is just pure sex. Like, she is hot as fuck. And she's great in the film in terms of just being sexy and cool and not being, I don't know, SJWE and being ugly and being dumpy. And for the most part, the casting, I thought, was pretty good. Now, Domino, when I actually came into this movie with zero spoilers, and I'm going to try to not put any spoilers in this review, because part of the Deadpool films I think that's really enjoyable is the little surprises that you get throughout it, and that's one of the big, one of the things not a lot of people talk about that make Deadpool movies so good. But when Domino was first on camera, I thought, luck is a superpower, and as usual, the Deadpool writing team was very self-aware. Deadpool himself was like, that's not a superpower, and she's like, yes it is. He's like, no it's not. She's like, yes it is. He's like, no it's not. And I thought they did, from a cinematography standpoint, a really good job of demonstrating how luck can be a superpower with her. And I thought overall her character was pretty good. She grew on me. At first I didn't like her character very much. I mean, I thought obviously she was very good looking and she can act reasonably enough. But overall she grew on me and I like her character. Could she hold her own movie? No way. But she's good as part of the X-Force for Deadpool. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Cable. Josh Brolin. I thought Cable was a fucking tombstone out of 10 in terms of character, who they chose to play him, how he was executed. Just very, very badass. I liked everything about him. I don't think I have any nitpicks about Cable at all. He was just fucking man's man, badass, post-apocalyptic, zero fucks left in the sack of fucks to give in terms of caring what people think. And the on-screen relationship between him and Deadpool is pretty good. It went about as I expected it. Now, about some of the smaller things, and then maybe one spoiler near the end, and I'll talk about that. I'm going to be jumping around because my notes I took during the film. For those of you that saw the film, I'd be interested to hear what you think in the comment section down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree with some of my takes? And why? If you haven't seen it yet, I feel like this review should give you a pretty good idea whether or not you want to pay the $20 to go. There was some small action. Let's talk about the action for a minute. The first part of the movie was a little slow. I found myself kind of glancing at my cell phone at times. That's not a good sign. And there was this distinct moment in the first 5 minutes of the film where it's actually from the trailer where Deadpool's running down the alley and there's like a bunch of people chasing him, and he jumps in the cab and they speed off. But then this gang of men, and I guess women, I don't remember, just people, were chasing him. And several of them, tell me if you saw the movie, if you noticed this, several of them were just shooting into the air instead of at the cab. I was like, that was the very first note I made during the movie. I'm like, what are they doing? They're not even shooting at him. I know it's like a small thing, but it jumped out like, what the hell? It was like an A-team thing, like where, oh, no wonder they didn't hit him. Maybe they were hoping the bullet would go up and then come like arc down and hit him. I don't know. I also noticed that there was a lot of Deadpool without his mask on. Almost, I would say screen time about 50-50. I don't feel like that was the case in the first movie. Not that it's a plus or a minus. It was just something that I noticed. In terms of the humor, I thought great. They did rehash some old jokes, some gags from the first one that that weren't as funny the second time around. And they did linger on a couple of jokes that just weren't that funny. And they were like calling unless I missed something, let me give you an example. They're talking about like some medical staff. I don't know what you call them. I know there's a name for them. But they like kept calling them pedophiles, and there was like nothing to indicate that they were. So I didn't understand that joke. I thought it was weird. The baby limbs thing came up again with Deadpool. It was funny, but it was a little played out. But overall, the bants were there. The bants between Deadpool and, for example, one of the hidden little, I don't think this is much of a spoiler, but the Negasonic girl, she doesn't play a big role in this movie, but she has a girlfriend, of course, and Deadpool and her, like, she's like this like stereotypical Japanese like schoolgirl who's also a superhero, but they have this like funny relationship. They're like really nice to each other. It's just funny. I mean, there's a lot of little like nuggets like that that I thought were pretty good. In terms of overall characters, I thought it was pretty good. Now, if you look at it, the characters themselves are like mega diverse, but in a natural way, in a way that doesn't feel forced. And I think people that always have an eye, I want to talk about the social justice stuff now. People that have an eye for like SJW influence, like I talk about it a lot in comics or in gaming. I get it. Sometimes we can just get a little fixated on looking for that sort of thing. But really what I'm looking for is like, is it natural? Right? So in this movie, you basically have like a burn victim, a black chick, a Russian dude, a lesbian girl, another lesbian Asian girl, pretty diverse cast, but not in a way that felt weird, not in a way that felt forced. And that was okay. Like that's okay. Diversity is great, just not for diversity's sake. There were several moments in the movie where Deadpool, like, they almost poked fun at social justice. He referred to the X-Force as gender neutral. And then and in a funny moment, he kept accusing Cable of being a racist, which was really fucking funny. Because I mean, he wasn't, but he just kept sounding like an SJW. Like he's like, I hope one day you'll see people for the content of their character and nothing. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, so there were some funny moments. I thought overall, from an SJW standpoint, sure there were like little fingerprints here and there, but overall, totally a-okay by me. Not really ruined by it in any way, in my opinion. There were some really funny, and I'm gonna say these are some light spoilers because you probably know about all this, or they're really not. It's not really important to the plot of the movie, but just some funny things I thought I wanted to mention that made the movie. And by the way, at this point, I think I'll say like definitely a movie worth seeing at least on a matinee. But I'll give you my score here in a minute. The soundtrack, overall was very solid. They made some obscure jokes about dubstep and then playing dubstep. I'm not sure what that was about. Like I said, there were a lot of jokes that I just didn't get. And there were some really, really, really inside baseball jokes about like how certain comic artists can't draw feet and stuff like that. Shots at the DC universe, inside baseball stuff. But for the comic fans, I really appreciated that. There was a character that I thought was fucking hilarious. I think for like one of the first times in the film I laughed out loud is when Deadpool is getting together his team. I won't go through everything, but he basically puts a call out and says like, superheroes show up and interview for this job. Well, he goes through all these superheroes, and then eventually like just some dude shows up, and he's like a total square, and he reminds me of Murray from Flight of the Conchords, and he's just like, hey, it seemed like fun, mate, like, hey, I'll join X-Force. And so he puts him on the team. And there's just some fucking hilarious moments where like Deadpool is like, oh, he calls him Sugar Bear, and like he's like trying to take care of him, and like he's just like a normal like accountant, like he won a contest and now he's on the superhero team. There is a lot of really funny scenes with that. I'm just kind of going down my notes. Sorry, I'm jumping over. In terms of the writing, I thought the writing wasn't as good as the first one. There were a lot of like little lazy writing moments. Even some of them where the movie broke the fourth wall and acknowledged that it was lazy writing. But I'm not like dwelling on it too much. But like typical stuff like, oh, I'm just going to go back in time and fix all these plot holes. Or I'm going to, again, fine. It didn't kill the movie or anything. They had some hilarious, like for the secret villain at the end. I'll just keep calling him the secret villain. Some of you will know who he is. I won't spoil it. But he has like his own theme song during the fight scene, and it's fucking hilarious. It's like holy shit balls, something like it's just funny. But overall, I actually thought the secret villain was weak sauce. Not that the character wasn't cool, but I don't know. They gave the guy or gal too many lines. I thought I didn't really. The character was just too casual to be afraid of, in my opinion. I remember the character from the comics, and I remember the character being badass, and the character is still badass in this movie. But I don't know. What did you think? For those of you that saw it, I mean, it is fine. The character fit the needs, but eventually the evil one has a pretty good fight scene with Colossus. That was okay. Self-acknowledged, big CGI fight. Overall, it was pretty good. I think if I had to rate this movie, the action I think was very solid. I thought the writing was mostly very solid. The cinematography, decent, other than the slow start of the film and a couple of just jokes that didn't land and a couple of like repeating the same kind of shticks as the first movie. I would definitely give this movie probably an 8 skee ball tokens out of 10. Overall, very solid movie to see in the theater. Would I see it twice? No. It's not like, to me, like the first Guardians movie or like Doctor Strange, where I felt like I could see those movies multiple times in the theater. Deadpool 2, I think, is very good. It's a movie that I'll probably own in some digital format after and watch it maybe one more time after it comes out. But overall, very good. Didn't let me down. Didn't get tainted by the social justice tentacle too badly. And let me know if you made it to the end of this, if you ever want me to do another review or not. But I thought this one was kind of near and dear to my heart because I just got this little expansion not that long ago for the Versus game, the Deadpool and Friends. So, I don't know. I'm a fan of the franchise. I hope that they don't make too many of them and they don't get too boring. But for now, the first 2 are both very solid. And I'm assuming the third one is on the way. Thanks for watching this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.